Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is November 28th, 2022. It's on Monday and sunny outside. How are you spending Monday today? Do you have many books related to economics? Economics. Do you have many books related to economics? Do you have many books in relation to economics? With respect to economics. With regard to economics, regarding economics. In respect to the economics. Do you have many books related to economics? There are many selections of arts related to pottery in the museum. There are many selections of pottery in the museum. How much is the legal blood alcoholic limit? Legal alcoholic limit. Legal blood alcohol limit. How much is the legal blood alcohol limit? Alcohol limit in your country? How much is the legal blood alcohol limit? Legal blood alcohol limit. Alcohol limit. Blood alcohol limits. Blood alcohol limits. Blood alcohol limits. Blood alcohol limits. If the amount is beyond the alcoholic limit, blood alcohol limits, you will be penalized if you drive with that condition. If the amount of the alcohol is beyond the limitation and drive a car, you will be fined. You will be penalized. Blood alcohol limits. 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 How much is the blood alcohol limit? How much is the amount? How much is the legal blood alcohol limit in your country? And how much is the legal lawful blood alcohol limit in your country? And how much is the legal blood alcohol limit in your country? How much is the legal blood alcohol limitation in your country? How much is the legal blood alcohol limit in your country? How much is the blood alcohol limit in your country? How much is the legal blood alcohol limitation? Legal blood alcohol limit. Legal blood alcohol limit in your country. Blood alcohol limit. Blood alcohol limit. Blood alcohol limits. blood alcohol limits, 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 blood alcohol limits. If the amount of the alcohol in your body is beyond the limitation, beyond the blood alcohol limit, blood alcohol limit, blood alcohol limit, and drive a car, you will be penalized, punished. Blood alcohol limits, blood alcohol limits, blood alcohol limits. If you drink a alcoholic beverage, please do not drive a car, okay? If you drink an alcoholic beverage, please do not drive a car, okay? Blood alcohol limits, blood alcohol limits, blood alcohol limits, blood alcohol limits, blood alcohol limits. Blood alcohol limits. Blood alcohol limits, blood alcohol limits. The inflation might be slow or small compared to other countries. This spicy curry is not, it's less spicy than the one I ate in the restaurant before. Compared to the spicy curry I ate in the country, this one is still okay for me. I saw some intoxicated salad workers on Friday night. I saw many intoxicated salad workers on Friday night. I saw one or two salad workers, intoxicated salad workers, sleeping on the street with gentleman's suit. I saw a salad worker maybe with a gentleman's suit, intoxicated salad worker sleeping on the street in the morning. I saw maybe a salad worker with a gentleman's suit, intoxicated salad worker sleeping on the walkway in the early morning. If you are intoxicated, please refrain from driving a car, okay? If you are intoxicated, please refrain from driving a car. If you are intoxicated, please refrain from driving a car. If you are intoxicated, please refrain from driving a car. If you are intoxicated, please refrain from driving your car. If you are intoxicated, please refrain from driving your car. If you are intoxicated, please do not drive your car. Intoxicated. The alcohol intoxicated me so fast. I easy to get intoxicated so soon, so fast, so quickly. I'm easy to get intoxicated. I'm easy to get intoxicated, even by a cup of alcohol. I'm easy to get intoxicated, drunk by a can of alcoholic beverage with only 3 or 4% of alcohol. I'm easy to get intoxicated. I'm easy to get intoxicated by a half can of alcoholic beverage with 5% alcohol. If you are intoxicated, please do not drive your car. If you are intoxicated, please do not drive your car. If you are intoxicated, please do not drive your car. The investor was sure of the stock price would soar in the long run. Some of the investors were certain of the soar of the stock of the company. The investor was certain that the stock price would soar. The investors were sure that the stock price would soar. The investors were sure. Some of the investors were sure that the stock prices would soar. Some of the investors were certain that the stock prices would soar. Regular exercise will be effective. Regular exercise will be effective for our health. Repetition will be effective for longer, deeper memorization. Repetition will be effective when it comes to memorizing. If you speed beyond the limitation, you will be imposed. You will be imposed a fine. The police officer imposed penalty on the speeding car. If the number of crimes increase, stricter rules or ordinances or laws might be imposed. Is your teacher strict? My parent was strict enough to forbid me from going out until I finished my homework or studying. My parent was very strict enough to forbid me from entering a shopping center. Was your parent strict? Is your parent strict? Is your teacher strict? Is your boss strict? There are many strict people. Strict education also have both merits and demerits. We can grow more in harsh environment. We can grow more. We can grow more in harsh environment. We cannot grow much in a comfortable zone. We cannot grow much in a comfortable zone. We cannot grow much in a comfortable zone. Comfortable zone. We cannot grow much in a comfortable zone. Comfortable zone. Comfortable zone. Comfortable. Comfortable. Comfortable zones. Comfortable zones. In a comfortable zone. 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 We will not grow much in a comfortable zone. Comfortable zone. We will not grow much in a comfortable zone. We will not grow much in a comfortable zone. In a comfortable zone. Comfortable zone. Comfortable zone. Comfortable zone. We can grow much in a harsh environment. His series of negligence at work resulted in his layoff. His endless commitment to The research resulted in developing the awesome masterpiece. The researchers' endless devotion, dedication, commitment to the research resulted in him winning the Nobel Prize of Physics. We will be faced with a tough time at some point in our life, and it will keep coming. It will tough times will keep arriving, will keep coming up, bring up. But we are always getting them over, toughing them over. We will be confronted with tough times in the course of our lives, but we are getting them over. We are getting through them. We are overcoming them. We can overcome them. We can overcome them. We will be confronted with tough times in our lives, but we can overcome them, but we can get through them. We will be faced with difficulties and hard times in the course of our lives, but we can overcome them and be stronger. We will be faced with many or some or a few tough times in the course of our lives, in the process of our lives, but we can overcome them, but we can get through them, but we can get over them, get them over, but we can get them over, but we can get them over. The hard training of the club activity was the most tough one. I will never experience the same tough training. I will never experience tougher experience than that. So whenever I face difficulties, I look back on the hard days, tough days. Whenever I face difficulties in my life, I look back on the harsh, tough, strict, stringent times. The hard training of the club activity is the most toughest one. I will never experience tougher ones in physically or mentally than that. So whenever I face difficulties in my life, I look back on the hard times. It's very difficult to enter the university. It's tough choice. We are sometimes faced with tough choices. We are sometimes faced with tough choices. Arriving at the destination in time seems tough. Given the current time, given the time. Arriving at the destination in time seems tough, given the situation. How can I be as tough as you? 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 If the number of crimes increase in the district, tougher restrictions will be imposed. Since after the serial car accidents at the corner, tougher restrictions were imposed in the district. After the serial car accidents at the corner, tougher laws were imposed, enacted, passed into law, came into effect, put into effect. The hard training of the club activity, the toughest in my life, was the toughest in my life. So I will never experience tougher one in my life. I'm sure that I will never experience tougher one than that in my life. The hard training of the club activity when I was a junior high school student was the toughest ever. So I'm sure that I will never experience tougher one than that, physically and mentally. Some people are very tough in the morning and weak in the morning towards evening. On the other hand, some people are very weak in the morning but tough, getting tougher towards the night. We will be faced with tough times at some point in our lives, but we cannot expect when tough times will come out. We cannot expect when tough times will crash into us. We cannot expect when we come across tough times. We cannot expect, we cannot predict, we cannot anticipate when we will run into tough times. I don't want to have a tough time. No one wants to have a tough time. No one wants to have a tough time. Many people want to, or everybody wants to avoid having a tough time. Everybody wants to avoid having a tough time. Everybody wants to avoid having a tough time. Everybody wants to have everyone wants to avoid having a tough time. Everybody wants to avoid having a tough time. Everybody wants to avoid having a tough time. Everybody wants to avoid having a tough time. Why are you as tough as nails? Why are you as tough as nails? What made you as tough as nails? What made you as tough? What made you as tough as nails? What made you as tough as nails? The hard training will make you as tough as nails. Hard training will make you as tough as nails. Hard training will make you as tough as nails. As tough as nails. As tough as nails. Can I be as tough as you? Can I be as tough as you? Can I be as tough as nails? Can I be as tough as nails? Can I be as tough as nails? As tough as nails. I wish I were as tough as nails in the morning. I wish I were as tough as nails enough to work overtime every day. I wish I were as tough as nails to run the marathon till the goal. I wish I were as tough as nails, keeping the speed till the end, until the end. As tough as nails, as tough as nails. I wish I were as tough as nails like you. I wish I were as tough as nails as you, like you. I wish I were as tough as nails like a superhero. I wish I were as tough as nails so that I could work more. So that I could work more. In order that I could work more. As tough as nails. 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 Some people are as tough as nails, while others are not. Some people are as tough as nails after work, even after work. Some people are as tough as nails. You are beautiful. You are as beautiful as ever. You are as funny as ever. I walk as far as the station every day. As tough as nails. As tough as nails. Some people are 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 as tough as nails. 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 I wish I were as tough as nails. I wish I were as tough as nails. If only I were as tough as nails. If only I were as tough as nails. If only I was as tough as nails. As tough as nails. I wish I were as tough as nails. Enough to run the marathon till the end, keeping the same speed. I wish I were as tough as nails. I am not as tough as nails. I used to be as tough as nails, enough to work on the same day after drinking until 2 o'clock a.m. I was as tough as nails by going to work on the same day as drinking day. I was as tough as nails, enough to go to work on the same day of the party, which lasted until 2 a.m. If you cannot tough it out, you can give up. Giving up is also important. Giving up is also important. If you cannot tough it out, you can give up. Giving up is also important. Please tough it out. Please tough it out. But if you cannot tough out the duty, you can give up. Give it up. If you cannot tough it out, you can give it up. If you cannot tough it out, you can give up. I tried to tough it out, but I couldn't. Even if you tough it out and couldn't, you can give it out. Even if you tough it out, even if you try to tough it out and can't, you can give it up. Even if you try to tough it out and cannot, you can give it up. Even if you tough it out, even if you try to tough it out and cannot, you can give it out. Even if you try to tough it out, even if you try to tough it out and cannot, even if you tough it out, even if you try to tough it out and cannot, you can give it up. Can you really tough it out? Why are you sure that you can tough it out? Why are you sure that you can tough it out? Why are you certain that you can tough it out? Why are you certain that you can tough it out? Why are you confident that you are tough it out? Why are you confident that you can tough it out? Why are you confident that you can tough it out? Why are you confident that you can tough it out? Why are you sure that you can tough it out? Why are you certain that you can tough it out? Can you really 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 tough it out? Although I tried to tough it out, but I couldn't, so I gave it up. I quit. Although I tried to tough the duty out, but I couldn't, so I resigned. I cannot tough out some duties. I couldn't tough out the duties. I couldn't tough out the duties. Not many people can tough out studying whole day, every day. I think not many people can tough out studying whole day, every day. Tough it out, tough it out, tough it out. Can you tough it out? Can you tough the duty out? Can you tough out the duty? Tough it out. Can you tough out the duty? Tough it out. Can you tough it out? Can you really 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 tough it out? I could tough it out. I could tough it out. I could tough it out. I toughed it out. I toughed it out. I toughed it out. I toughed out the hard training. Only 30% of the candidates will tough the training out. Tough out the hard training. Only 30% of the candidates will tough out the hard training. Only the 30% of the candidates will tough out the hard training. Let's tough it out and enjoy the glorious days later. Let's tough it out and have the day off on the next day. Let's tough it out together this week, and we can have day offs on the next day, in the next week. Let's tough it out together, imagining the vacation after that. Let's tough it out, imagining the vacation after that. The border measures were toughened because of the pandemic. Border measures were toughened because of the pandemic. The hard training toughened me. The hard training toughened me. Toughened me. The hard training toughened me. The hard training toughened me. The bad news toughened me from going abroad. The dropping yen toughened me from going abroad. The dropping yen toughened me from going abroad. If there are more crimes in the district, the laws will be toughened. The penalty might be toughened to prevent the drivers from speeding. The speed limit might be toughened to prevent the drivers from speeding, to keep the drivers from speeding, to stop the drivers from speeding. The speed limit might be toughened. The penalties for drunk drivers might be toughened. The penalties for drunk drivers were toughened. The penalty for drunk drivers was toughened. The penalties for drunk drivers was toughened to keep the safety on the road, to save the lives of the drivers. The penalty for drunk drivers was toughened to reduce the number of car accidents related to drunk driving. The penalties for drunk drivers were toughened in order to reduce the number of car accidents related to drunk driving. The penalties for drunk drivers were toughened in order to so as to reduce the number of car accidents related to drunk driving. The harsh environment toughened me. The harsh environment toughened me. The harsh training 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 toughened me. The harsh environment toughened me. The harsh environment toughened me. Strict education toughened me. The hard training toughened me. The martial art 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 toughened me. The traffic jam toughened us from arriving at the destination in time. The sudden car accident on the way toughened us arriving at the destination in time. The sudden car accident on the road toughened us arriving at the destination in time. The sudden car accident happened on the way toughened us arriving at the destination in time. The hard training of the club activity after school toughened me physically. The muscle training toughened me physically. Performing in public frequently toughened me mentally. Appearing in public toughened me mentally. Passing the examination toughened after seeing the result of the preliminary examination. Arriving at the destination in time toughened. Seeing the amount of bonus, buying the PlayStation 5 toughened. Due to the dropping yen, going abroad toughened. The penalties for drunk drivers toughened. The penalties for serial criminals toughened. The martial art toughened me. I toughened thanks to the hard training of the martial art. I toughened thanks to the hard training of the martial arts. The hard training of the martial art toughened me. I could toughen thanks to the hard training of the martial art. I could toughen thanks to the hard training of the martial art. Going abroad toughened due to the dropping yen economically. Going abroad toughened economically due to the dropping yen, owing to dropping yen, on account of dropping yen. Penalties for drunk drivers are toughening more and more. Penalties for drunk driving has been toughening. Penalties for drunk drivers have 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 been toughening. I could toughen thanks to the hard training of the martial art. I could toughen thanks to the hard training of the martial art. Toughen. Martial art, the hard training of the martial art toughened me. The government toughened the border measure. The penalties for drunk drivers were toughened. The penalties for drunk drivers toughened. I toughened by training hard. I toughened by getting over many difficulties. We can toughen by getting over difficulties. We are toughening and toughening. We are toughening more and more. We are toughening more and more by getting over difficulties. Toughen. What do you think of drunk driving? Have you done drunk driving? Drunk driving should be abolished. Drunk driving should be done away with. I hope drunk driving will be zero. There are some car accidents related to drunk driving. There are some car accidents related to drunk driving. Tougher regulations might be imposed on speeding car, drunk drivers. Tougher regulations are being imposed on drunk drivers. You had a better practice with the regulation board. We were forced to wear a regulation uniform. Otherwise, we were punished. But some students were wearing illegal, some colorful uniforms which were not allowed in the school. You should practice with the regulate balls. Regulate ball. You should practice with the regulate balls to get used to the weight, texture, and so on. To get used to the environment. To get used to the weight, and so on. Regulation. Tougher regulations will be imposed on those. Tougher regulations will be imposed. Might be imposed. Tougher, stricter, more stringent regulations might be imposed. On the road law. Tougher regulations were imposed on the border measure. Tougher regulations were imposed on the citizens. The citizens were imposed on tougher regulation. Tougher regulations were imposed on citizens. You should practice with regulation boards. You should practice with regulation boards to get used to it. To get used to it. You should practice with the regulation board to get used to it and to get used to it. If the weight or texture are different from the boards you are usually practice with, you cannot be able to perform well at the competition. So you have to better practice with the regulation boards. You should practice with the regulation boards. Can you tell the regulation and the fake ones? Can you tell the copied goods and regulation ones? Some students are forced to wear a regulation uniform. Regulation uniform. In some schools, students are forced to wear uniforms. A regulation uniform. A regulation uniform. In some schools, students must wear a regulation uniform. In some schools, the students have to wear a regulation uniform. Regulation uniform. Regulation. Regulation uniform. In some schools in Japan, students have to wear a regulation uniform. Regulation uniform. In some schools in Japan, the students have to wear a regulation uniform. Regulation uniform. In some schools in Japan, the students have to wear a regulation uniforms. In some schools in Japan, the students have to wear a regulation uniforms. You had better practice with the regulation boards. If you don't use the regulation ink cartridges, the copy machine might be broken, so please bear that in mind. So please keep that in mind. If you don't use the regulation ink cartridges, the copy machine might be broken, might break down. So keep that in mind. So please bear that in mind. If you don't use regulation ink cartridges, the copy machine might break down. Please use the regulation tools described below. Please use the regulation tools described in the description. Please use the regulation paper for the vacuum. Otherwise, the vacuum might break down. Please replace the parts with the regulation ones. Please replace the parts with the regulation ones. Regulation. Please replace the parts with the regulation ones. Otherwise, the computer might break down. Please replace the parts with regulation ones. Regulation parts, regulation balls, regulation uniform, regulation ink cartridges, regulation ink cartridges, regulation ink cartridges, regulation uniform, regulation uniform, regulation uniform, regulation employees, regulation size, regulation size. If the luggage is beyond the regulation size, you have to pay extra. If your carry-on luggage is beyond the regulation size, you will have to pay extra. Regulation. Regulation. In some schools, the students have to wear regulation uniforms. Wear a regulation uniform. In some schools, the students have to wear a regulation uniform. Regulation uniform. Regulation uniform. Regulation uniform. In some schools in Japan, the students have to wear regulation uniform. Regulation uniform. Regulation. Regulation. Please check the regulation size before you bring your carry-on luggage into the cabin to avoid paying extra. Please check the regulation size before you bring your carry-on luggage into the cabin to avoid paying extra by going beyond the limitation, okay? Please check the regulation size. Please check the regulation size of your of the luggage before bring your luggage, carry-on luggage into the cabin. Please check the regulation size which is allowed to bring in the cabin before the boarding. If your ticket has not been got through regulation route, we cannot accept it. No other tickets which are not obtained through regulation route are accepted. No tickets which are obtained through no other tickets are accepted unless they are obtained from regulation route. No other tickets which are not obtained from regulation route are accepted. No other tickets which are not obtained through regulation route are accepted. If your tickets have not been obtained through regulation route, we cannot accept them. Regulation uniform, regulation uniform, regulation size, regulation size, regulation uniform, regulation uniform, regulation size, regulation uniform, regulation ball, regulation ball, regulation uniform. You have to wear a regulation uniform to identify that you are a member of the company. Many things are regulated now. More and more things might be regulated. Being regulated will be good to a certain extent, but which is also has both merits and demerits. Crazy ideas are difficult to be adopted, although they are very important to achieve breakthroughs. Crazy ideas are very difficult to be adopted in a meeting, especially when it comes to in a big companies, because they tend to avoid crazy ideas because they are afraid of making a big mistake by challenging crazy ideas, by trying crazy ideas. The family adopted a boy. The family adopted a guy into the family. The family adopted a girl into the family. The family has adopted a man into the family. The family adopted a man into the family. The family adopted a woman into the family. The family rejected to adopt a man into the family. The family rejected to adopt a man into the family. The family declined to adopt the man into the family. The family declined to adopt the woman. I'm so happy to be adopted in the company. I was so happy to be adopted in the company. Actually, I was not so happy to be adopted in the company. Adoption of the candidates might be decided before the election. Adoption system. Adoption system. Families can adopt someone in their family as a son or a daughter. A family can adopt a man or woman as their children, as their child. This is adoption system. Adoption system. In adoption system, a family can adopt a boy or a girl as their kid, as their child. In adoption system, a family can adopt a boy or a girl as their child. Adoption. The adoption of my crazy ideas surprised me and all of other employees. The adoption of my crazy ideas took me by surprise, as well as other employees. The adoption of my crazy idea took everyone by surprise, including me. Adoption. What do you think of the adoption of the orthodox ideas? The adoption of new employees in the company is decided by examinations and job interviews. The adoption of new employees of the company is conducted by examinations and additional 6 minutes were added to the soccer game. Additional 6 minutes. Additional 6 minutes words were added to the soccer game. You can add additional options if you pay extra. There are some additional options on the next page. There are some additional options in addition to what you have chosen. Some additional times might be added to the soccer game beyond the 45 minutes. The employee was promoted to the section chief. In addition to that, he won the lottery. He was promoted to the section chief, and in addition, he won the lottery. He was caught in the traffic jam. In addition, he forgot to bring the important document. He was caught in a traffic jam and couldn't reach the destination workplace in time. In addition, he forgot to bring the important document. She ordered one set menu. Moreover, she went to another restaurant. The enthusiastic student studies so hard at school. Moreover, he still studies in the train. The enthusiastic student studies so hard at class, even during the lunchtime. And what is more, moreover, he still studies in the train. If you add 5 to 5, you will get 10. Do you like to add? The company is going to add a few dozens of employees. To the members of the research and development department. Let's add a little bit sugar, a drop of sugar, a touch of sugar. Please add a drop of sugar to the soup. Please add a touch of salt and sugar to the soup. If you add 5 to 5, you will get 10. If you subtract 5 from 5, you will get 0. If you subtract 10 from 20, you will get 10. If you add 5 to 5, you will get 10. If you add 5 to 5, you will get 10. If you add 5 to 5, you will get 10. If you add 1 million to 1 million, you will get 2 million. If you add 20 to 50, you will get 70. If you add 50 to 50, you will get 100. Let's add a drop of sugar into it. Let's add a drop of sugar into it. It's better to add a little bit of salt into it, salt and pepper. It's better to add a touch of salt and pepper into it. Let's add a drop of pepper into it. Let's add a touch of red pepper into it. Do you like to add? Do you like to add? I like to add, but don't like to subtract. Do you like to add? Do you like to add? Do you like to add? No, I don't. I don't like to both add. I don't like both adding and subtracting. I don't like mathematics, calculation. I don't like calculation, but calculation would be a good brain exercise. I like to add, but I don't like to subtract. I don't like. I'm good at adding. I'm good at adding, but not good at subtracting. I'm good at adding. I'm good at adding, but not subtracting. I'm good at adding, but not subtracting. Do you like to add? Do you like to subtract? Which do you prefer? Adding or subtracting? I was forced to add when I was a kid. I was forced to add when I was a kid from the textbook, from some textbooks. You can enjoy many adding in the textbook. I was trained many adding. I was forced to add many times from textbooks. I was forced to add from the textbook. And we were forced to add many times from a textbook. There are always limitations to everything. There are limitations to everything, which we shouldn't go over, otherwise which will affect us. There are always limitations to everything, which we shouldn't go over, otherwise which will affect us, maybe mentally, physically, and so on. We should do everything within limits. We should do everything within limits. Within limits. Within limits. We should do everything 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 within limits. Within limits. Within limits. Within limits. Within limits. I've heard that there is an expressway without limitations, without speed limitation in Germany. What is it true? Where is it? I've heard that there is an expressway without speed limitation in Germany. What is the expressway called? What is the expressway called? What is the expressway called? Does it exist? And is it really without speed limitation? There are always limits. There are always limits that we shouldn't go over. We shouldn't go beyond. We shouldn't surpass. Otherwise, which might affect us badly. Within limits. Within limits. Exercising regularly and with limits will be good for us. Exercising with the limits will be good for our health. Doing everything excessively will be bad for our health. Doing excessively will be bad for our health. Doing everything excessively will affect us in a bad way. Doing everything excessively will affect our body health in a bad way. So doing everything with the limits will be good. Doing everything with limits will be good. Doing everything with limits will be good. Within limits. Within limits. Doing everything within limits will be good. 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 I've heard there is an expressway without speed limit. Speed limit. Does it exist? I've heard there is an expressway without speed limits in Germany. Is it true? If you sign the contract with the inclusive set C, you can use the internet without limitations, without limits. If you join the course C, you can use the internet without limits. Without limits. If you sign the contract with the course C, you can use the internet without limits. Without limits. Without limits. If you contract the course C, 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 you can use internet without limits. Doing everything within limits will be good. Doing everything within limits will be good. Doing everything within limits will be good. Exercising within limits will be good. Exercising within limits will be good. Working out within limits will be good. Studying within limits will be good. Studying within limits will be good. Exercising within limits will be good. Working out within limits will be good. There are laws to limit our excession. There are laws to limit the things we shouldn't go beyond. There are laws to limit things. The speed that we can speed is limited by the law. What we can do is limited by the law. But what we can do is limited by the law. Limited by the law. What we can do is limited by the law. Many things are limited. The speed that we can speed is limited by the law. The speed is limited to 50 kilometers here. The speed is limited to 100 kilometers here in the expressway, but it can be limited to 70 or 80 according to the road. So we have to check it. More and more 24-hour shops might be limited to maybe 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. to save the lives of the staff, to reduce the workload of the staff. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.